Tron Ares. Tron Ares is a good film. Oh, we're live. Welcome to Mirror Domains. And this is indeed my live review for Tron Ares. And if you don't know how this works, guys, I'll cut this out and put it up on the review channel separately later on. I'm a little under the weather. I've been this way for the last week here, so that's why there's been a little bit of a lack of content. I'm going to try to soldier through. But if I have to edit and put it up separately in chunks, like cut out the me hacking and gagging, it is what it is. And we're doing it live. We're going to record it live. Neon Brainbuster says 100% fire. Yeah. Okay. And we'll take some live comments after I do my formal review here because I want to talk about this movie. Tron Ares. Let's do it. Tron Ares is indeed a good film. I liked it. Don't listen to the tomato meter critics, though. 54%. 86 by the audience. So that means that this is a crowd pleaser. And Tron Ares, it tells the tale of a highly sophisticated program, Ares. He is sent from the digital world into the real world on a dangerous mission. So if you saw the trailers for this, you saw that Jared Leto is in the lead of this one, and he plays this figure from the digital world that comes out into the real world, and it's kind of like, how does this work? I thought that he was going to be playing the main bad guy, but it's kind of like he's the bad program, yes, but then he grows a conscience. And that's pretty much what this movie's about. As he disobeys his programming, then he gets all of these other programs sent after him. And I thought this was a fairly bold film, considering that a lot of people were expecting a sequel to Tron Legacy. And I found myself not missing Tron Legacy at all because this movie was good enough to keep me engaged from the start. It gave us some very familiar tones and scenes that we recognized from like that old Tron universe. And yes, it's like, well, how could it be Tron without Tron? Well, guys, you got to let the story evolve a little bit here. Let them show you what they're doing. And then once the soundtrack kicks in from Nine Inch Nails, it's like, okay, no, I'm on board with this. And I just found myself fully engaged in this film from start to finish. And this movie comes in just under 2 hours, an hour and 59 minutes. The standouts here have to be the visual effects. Okay, no, let me rephrase. The standout here is the soundtrack. Nine Inch Nails. All right, there it is. Then the visuals. The visuals, without a doubt, are some of the things that you'll be looking for in this, and you'll want to see all the cool action sequences, how the recognizer comes out into the real world, and how this that kind of all evolve. Because when you see it and you see all of that stuff unfold, it's just cool. It's like, wow. I didn't think that I would be liking this movie that much. And I heard the early buzz from the critics. The critics were kind of like putting their nose up at it and saying, this stinks. This isn't really what I wanted from the film. Well, you have to be able to pull yourself out of that, guys, and say, okay, well, if it's not exactly what you wanted, is it a cohesive film? And yes, this is. And what I like about this is that it's not trying to like set up the next film. All of this is not trying to set up the next film. This is a self-contained story in its own, and it ends in a place where, okay, now it can go into another story, but we just don't know what that story will be, which is kind of cool. I like that. They finally made one cohesive story instead of like clickbaiting you with some kind of weird cliffhanger ending and be like, well, are we going to get the second one or are we not? I want to see more of Jared Leto as as Ares because I thought he did a good job, and I didn't think that I would be liking this film as much as I did. I was like, I was in the theater watching it, and like, okay, when is this terrible stuff going to happen? When is this terrible storyline plot going to happen where I'm going to turn up my nose? And I never got to that point watching Tron Ares. I never got there. So before we go back to the tomato meter and take a look at all the critics' ratings and stuff, let's take a quick look at my score sheet for Tron Ares. Now, if you don't know how this works, acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are out of possible 1 point. Acting, overall, it's well done. Greta Lee, also a huge standout in this. And then, so was Athena, actually. Athena, actress in this. She did a fantastic job too. Let's just run down the cast here quickly before we get into this. Jeff Bridges is in this. Evan Peters, Julian Dillinger, Jodie Turner-Smith. Gillian Anderson is in this also. Really well done. Now, I was looking at the Tron Legacy cast and I was thinking, okay, is this Julian Dillinger the same character that Cillian Murphy was playing in Tron Legacy? You remember Cillian Murphy showed up in that boardroom and he played one of the Dillingers, but he was Edward Dillinger, right? And I was hoping that it would be like the same character, maybe just a recast, but it's Julian Dillinger. So they changed it. Maybe the Edward Dillinger was the sister of Elizabeth Dillinger. So there's still a lot of stuff there for them to mine. Like they could still have Cillian Murphy come back in the next one. Like I don't see what, like there's not possibility. That's what this movie did. It opened up the possibility of the Tron world. And I got to say that I was very happy about that. It made things dangerous, tangible, and thought-provoking as kind of like, okay, well, if they can come out into our world, like what aspects of their technology will work in our world? Like, obviously a recognizer is going to be able to work in this world. And the light cycles, well, how does that work? And the director has been putting out these behind the scenes stuff, kind of like how he put all this together, and it's been great material. But I digress. Let's go back to the score sheet here because I was talking about acting. And I'll wrap that one up. I'll say for cohesiveness here, I'm going to give 1.5. There's nothing Oscar worthy. Evan Peters is maybe like pushing it just a touch too much on the cheesy mustache twirling bad guy pulling his hair out at the end, but it's like I thought it was okay because the directing, the technical aspects in this was handled very well. The acting, the execution of the story, I felt the pacing was done very well. But then I'm going to also attribute, like, because he's been publishing these behind the scenes stuff where you get to see him articulate how he was going to accomplish some of the shots that he was doing. I'm like, no, this is a good effort here. Joachim Roning, right? Story overall, I think maybe could be the weakest part, but it's so straightforward. It's not a grandiose, we're trying to take over the world type of thing. It's just kind of like this program gets out and wants to be free. And then it's kind of like the Dillinger people are coming after him to get him, right? So it's pretty straightforward. I do reserve the right to come back to it, though. Cinematography, and hey, if you saw the trailers, you know that this is beautifully filmed. It looks great. And the soundtrack, we're going to bump that up to a full point because Nine Inch Nails, once again, brings it, man. I was listening to the soundtrack before the movie came out, and I was like, okay, I like the tone, but it's not one that I really want to listen to over and over again. But this is the kind of soundtrack that fits the movie. It fits the imagery that you're seeing on the screen. That's the kind of soundtrack this is. And then, of course, when they played their big song there at the end, too. It's fantastic. So we're sitting at a 6 out of 10 right now. And I want to go over to the tomato meter again and take a look at what people are saying here for Tron Ares and see if they can kind of echo what I've been trying to say here. So, critic reviews. There are some cool scenes within the grid, and Nine Inch Nails music turns those scenes into great music videos stuck in a mediocre, if not outright bad movie. No, it's not a bad movie. I didn't think that. So I don't agree with that. New York Post. 43 years later, Tron Ares is groundbreaking for the first Tron film without uh, discernible plot. But they liked it? No, it's got a pretty decent plot. So you can see the mix here between the critics, right? Another visually appealing and emotionally unsatisfying. No, it's not. Get out of here with that. The reader. Honestly, if I weren't for the Leto of all of it, Tron Ares would be a delightful, over-budgeted B movie with a killer soundtrack and nothing to say but look how pretty. Well, why does everything have to have this big, huge message of we're going to save the world, or you know what, treat your neighbor nicely? No, this is just like it's so small and contained in a way that it's like this is exactly what I wanted. I needed right now is Tron Ares. I don't need something that's so grandiose that the fate of the world is going to be taken over because AI is out of control. I didn't need one of those stories. That's not what this story is about. But the audience did like it, right? Visually fun to watch and entertaining. We enjoyed the movie and they did a good job with the storyline as it relates to the previous movies. And it does. We would recommend this. And it does, guys. This movie does relate to the other movies. It does reference it. But if you're going into this movie saying, okay, no, I only want to see Garrett Hedlund and Cora. I forget what this is. It's Sam. Uh, I'm sorry. I don't know why people are complaining about Garrett Hedlund. The guy uh, has the charisma of a vacuum cleaner. He's just not that entertaining to watch. Olivia Wilde pops. She look at that. Like, you just want to see. Maybe it's her eyes, but there's just something in her presence that you're just like, I want to see what she's doing. Now, Garrett Hedlund, I could give two rats patooties. I mean, it's just cringeworthy. I don't understand why so many people are hung up on him. And if you can get past that, uh, this movie does give nods to it, for sure. And it explains why this movie's not about that. It really does. This movie explains why we're not following that storyline right now. And they totally weave in a really good reason for there to be a return of the Flynn character. And how they do it is also very logical. There's some good dialogue in here between Jared Leto and Flynn. You can see here on this shot from the trailer that, is he a little bit see-through there, guys? Well, they explain it. And that's what I like about this movie. They explain things to you. One critic that I do admire, that I do want to pull from the list here, Jeremy Johns. He didn't like it. Weird. Solid soundtrack and action sequences and visuals, but then nothing below the surface of all that. But nothing below the surface of all that. See, I can't agree with that. There is a heart to this film, and the heart is that this AI development of Ares got all these directives saying, do this, do that, and then he just stops to ask why. Why am I going to do that? And then he's like, go kill that person. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I found that fascinating because I guess I'm tired of this doomsday AI storyline that every film has to spit out. It's like not all AI is going to act like that, guys. There are going to be instances where this will happen, where there will be like an AI that won't want to do that. And I found it refreshing. Found it very enjoyable. All right. Before I lose my voice here, I think you get the point. That being said, let's go back to my score sheet and wrap things up here for the watchability factor of Tron Ares. So the watchability factor is out of 2 points. And if you are curious about Tron and this world, of course you want to check this out. Now, I saw it in the 3D AVX. I didn't see it in the IMAX. I saw it in the 3D big sound theater because I wanted to make sure that I got a good soundtrack because of the Nine Inch Nails. But like the 3D, I guess it sort of worked, but it's kind of like I could have done without it. There was a few things that were kind of neat when the light cycles were doing their stuff. I just felt like overall, uh, you could do without the 3D. I am curious about seeing it in the IMAX though. I would champion seeing this in the IMAX. Maybe not in the IMAX 3D with the vibrating seats because that's going to be costing you like $35. But I would totally watch this movie again, and I would actually I would say that I would even have this movie in my collection because I enjoyed it that much. I have the original Tron on Blu-ray as well. Of course, I've got it on Disney Plus. 8 out of 10 for Tron Ares. And I'm acknowledging here, guys, that the story may be the weakest part for some people, but I think this is a good score. I feel good about this. 8 out of 10 for Tron Ares. What do you guys think? Do you see this movie? Do you want to see this movie? Do you believe the hype? Do you believe all the criticisms? Are you sad that that Cora is not going to be in this film? Um, I would just say this: stay through the credits. There is one mid-credit scene, and it is totally worthwhile seeing. And I liked what they did with that mid-credit scene because it does sort of tee up what they could do next with the story without saying, okay, well, um, using that Marvel formula. Well, I guess maybe it sort of does. But if you're upset that you didn't see enough Tron Legacy stuff in Tron Ares, you know that they're setting things up for maybe the worlds to collide. And I found that satisfactory for me. All right. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. If you like this kind of thing, we've also reviewed movies like The Strangers Chapter 2 and The Baltimoreans and The Smashing Machine with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That's up on the channel right now. And I'll see you next time, right here on Mirror Domains. Oi, 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 oi. Yeah, I was a little bit dismayed at the amount of critics that just, I don't know what they were expecting. Like this one here echoes exactly what I'm talking about. Unlike Tron Legacy, which felt like a tech-forward theme park ride, Ares is an uninspired soft reboot, and that spends much of its time over-explaining a plot that's convoluted as it is predictable. Well, see, this is paradoxical, right? How can it be predictable but convoluted? That means it's so confusing you have trouble following along. It's like, do you understand what you're saying? An exhausting, overproduced, nauseating, tedious sci-fi action thriller. And no, I don't agree with that. The only thing I was kind of bummed about was that from the cast, Cameron Monaghan was going to be in this, playing one of the bad robots, and he doesn't have a big part. This guy is super talented, man. He was on Gotham. Uh, he's got so many different levels to him that he can be multiple things. He can be in tone. He's got different gears. There he is, sort of playing the pseudo Joker character because they didn't have the rights for the Joker in Gotham, so they couldn't use that visage. But he's got really good talent, and I wanted to see him have a bit of a bigger role in this, but he was only in it for a small little sequence. It's kind of bummed, uh, and I want to see him get his time. But overall, Tron Ares, surprising hit, and I'm almost wanting to go see it again. 80s neon brainbuster, yeah, 100% fire. It is, and the soundtrack, great, great stuff. All right, the other movie opening up this week was Roof Man, Channing Tatum. Now I was going to go watch it this afternoon, but I just been I'm busy. Maybe tomorrow I'll be able to check this out, just this one out. It's just priorities. Rated R, and this is 2 hours and 6 minutes. Oh, you know what other movie I need to review? I just realized. Maybe I can do this now. Maybe I can set this up now. I need to review One Battle After Another. I really do. All right. Maybe I can. Let's go see if we can get One Battle After Another. I'll set up here and I'll do a quick review. I need a poster for it though. So I saw this last weekend. I just didn't do the review because I've been busy. And then I got sick. So that's how it goes. Okay. See if I can update the posters here. There we go. Change up our colors here too. And again, this will be cut out and put up on the stream separately later on. I'm going to keep this one brief. I don't even know if I want to do a... No, I guess I should do a score sheet for this. Let me reset this. Here we go. One battle. Oh, God. One battle. Let me blow my nose here. Let me clear the pipes and then we'll get into this again. Quick break. Okay. Should be better now. Yeah, it is what it is. Got to fight through it, James. One One battle after another comes in at 95% on the tomato meter, 85 by the audience. So it's a well universally liked film that stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, And it tells the tale when their evil enemy resurfaces after 16 years. A group of ex-revolutionaries reunite to rescue the daughter of one of their own, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. The cast also includes Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, Wood Harris, Alana Haim, and then why are they not listing her here, guys? Because she's also really good in this film. She's the lead, one of the leads. Chase Infinity. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that IDBM. You should be putting that up there because she has a lot to do with this film, and she's one of the standouts. Now, the acting, I think, is going to be a big draw, but it's not going to be from DiCaprio. It's going to be actually from Sean Penn, who plays this obscure marshal or general, and basically his obsession of finding them. Because as we learn throughout the film, there's some good reasons why he's chasing them, and it's not all what you would think. Uh, the trailers really did a disservice to this film because they made it seem like this was going to be like a Guy Ritchie uh, kind of like actioner with some cheekiness to it. Like the trailers really didn't do this film a good job. It's really about a father trying to get back his daughter that has been taken by this obscure general that's got some serious issues. Like he's wanting to be a part of this secret society, and he's obviously bigoted and got some emotional trauma going on. The best part, I think, without a doubt, has to be Sean Penn. And it's cool because you're watching this film unfold, and it's like, oh yeah, no, I forgot that Sean Penn, he's a totally fantastic actor. Now, that's not to let down the other people in this film. Del Toro, Benicio's also good, but it's this actress here, this one who played the daughter, uh, did a fantastic job, and I don't think people should be shying away from that because Chase Infinity, right? Uh, Chase Infinity. She's got a bright future in front of her. So I liked the film. I liked it. But when I got out, I was like, I don't know why people are giving this a 9.5 though. Like it's a quality made film. The pacing for the runtime of uh, 2 hours and was it 45 minutes? 2 hours and 41 minutes. I felt like maybe a little bit could have been cut out. This could have been about a 2 hour and 15-minute film and still had the same kind of impact. Uh, it's not as strong as, say, There Will Be Blood. I mean, that movie is a masterpiece. Uh, I think that this is a solid effort. I don't think I would say that this is in Best Picture uh, arena. I don't see that. Like, it doesn't have one of those big, impactful statements about it. Like, I was worried about it at first because I thought this would go into kind of the political culture of what's going on in the country down south from us. Like it would be knocking on the extreme right wing and the radical left, and it's like it doesn't do that. It's smart enough not to do that, but it's kind of like giving nods as to okay, well, this could be an allegory for that. This is definitely leaning towards that because they use this scope of this secret society that Sean Penn's character wants to be part of. But it's more or less somebody on the run, and then the father trying to catch up with her. That's more or less what the movie's about, and I liked that part of the film. But when it was doing all this other eccentric stuff, uh, maybe that's where it lost a little bit of its flair for me. Uh, but I overall thought it was a pretty good film, one battle after another. I wasn't let down. Let's go over to my score sheet and start filling in some numbers before we go over and take a look at the critics, just to see if they echo what we've been saying. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points. Cinematography and score 1 each. Acting, I'm going to give 1.5 for the ensemble, straight up off the bat. But then for Sean Penn, I think Sean Penn might, he just put in a really interesting performance here. So I'm going to give that a full 2 points. Directing, the technical aspects are done well, it's shot well, but I got some pacing issues here. This is not Paul Thomas Anderson's best film. And I don't even think that it'd be in his top 3 films. It's just a competently made film. And for that, I'm going to have to give that 1.5. The story overall, it's got some stuff in here where it made me think of movies like Wind River, where that had something significant to say about one aspect of our society, where it's grim, it's morose, it's vile. Like there's an aspect of the corruption of one side here, uh, that is gross and vile and corrupt. And I wish they leaned into that a little bit more and made a statement about that. But I felt like that part of the story was a little bit fumbled, a little bit fumbled. Other than that, it's just a father-daughter story, and for that, I may come back to that. Cinematography, you can tell that he was really trying here to put something on the screen that would wow you and say that okay, we're following this road and it's going up and down like the ocean. So it's got some really interesting cinematography in there. The score is serviceable for what this is. So we're sitting at 6 out of 10 right now without doing the watchability factor. Let's go back to the tomato meter here and try to see why people are giving this so high of a rating. The New Yorker. Anderson elicits memorable inflections of dialogue, intent glances, brazen thrashes of energy, and outbursts of fury of his charismatic cast, making one battle after another a feast of inspired and dedicated acting. And that sounds like somebody who is of the old school. Well, it's Paul Thomas Anderson, so we got to credit him as an auteur, right? As somebody who is elite, but you're not really looking at the substance of the story. In fact, the critics that were complaining that Tron Ares didn't have a whole lot of substance to it, uh, oddly are saying that this movie had a whole lot of substance to it. And I told you that it's basically just a father going after his daughter kind of storyline, and there's not that much more to it. But yet here they're saying that, oh, like I see through you guys, you critics here. I see through you. Uh, it's impossible to overstate how much fun this is. The thing is, with the twists and welcome detours along the way, I wouldn't say it's fun because it's people running for their lives. Although I guess they're responsible for the bad guys coming after them because they do all these crazy things. But let's take a look at somebody who is a little bit reserved about this. Uh, Paul Thomas Anderson leans heavily on the elasticity of the fictional setting and never really commits to the rights of the very groups fighting for the innocuous, diluted revolution. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about him dancing around the current political climate there in that country to the south. A lot of to offer visually, but not enough to avert from the real world. Yeah, and while Sean Penn is running around doing these crazy things, uh, chasing them and stuff, uh, the scene that really kind of stuck out to me the most was when this guy whose blood he's indigenous does something against his morals, and there's a scene of him just sitting in the car saying thinking like this, okay, am I going to do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to let this bad thing happen. And I like the fact that Paul Thomas Anderson gave him that time on screen just to sort it out with us, and then you see him just say, "No, I'm not going to let this happen." And then that's the most interesting scene in this movie for me, for me at least. And I don't know if you may say, "Well, he's indigenous, so you're indigenous," but no, no, because you actually see the conflict of a character there. You don't really see the conflict of the character of Leonardo's character, because you know that he loves his daughter. Of course, he's going to go after his daughter. Of course, he is. So there's not that big of an arc there for his character. Uh, Benicio has an interesting character because he's kind of like marshaling this town and corralling all the people in the town to like help them, like get them out of town and stuff like that. So there's some interesting stuff, no doubt about it, no doubt about it. But for me, I don't find it as high as a 95 or 85. It's good. Audience 5 out of 5. Cast did a great job, action and comedy. One of the best movies I've seen in a long time. Caleb B. Well, then I would say you haven't seen movies like The Long Walk, uh, or uh, uh, what else was good right now? Smashing Machine. Smashing Machine was good. Yeah, The Life of Chuck, also really good. Uh, I don't know if you've seen movies like that, but you should. Weapons. Weapons is a superior film to this. Uh, just because it makes you go, wow. This will have those scenes in there, but it just felt like it was pushing too hard to be that. And it's like I like to give it a little bit more of a measured response. I'm not saying that I didn't like this film, guys. I liked this film, but going back to my score sheet and rounding this out with the watchability factor, that's out of 2 points. If you like Paul Thomas Anderson, if you like the cast, and you want to check this out, where else could I give points to? Like I don't know if I would go back and watch this again. If I were to, I think it would be for Chase Infinity because it starts off with a character that you don't really like at all, and then it becomes muddled at the end. They do something with one of the characters that should end the story there, with a car flipping, and it's like, okay, well then that person's gone, right? No, they're not gone. They show up, and we've got another 10 minutes with that character just to end in the same way that should have ended in the car crash. That kind of thing. That's what happens with the story, and I can't, in good conscience, let that go simply because you like all these other aspects of the film. I got to give this a measured response here, and 7 out of 10, I think, is where I'm going to land for One Battle After Another. 7 out of 10. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. We'll take some live comments here in just a second. But if you are interested in knowing, we just reviewed The Baltimoreans, Smashing Machine, and Tron Ares. Tron Ares up on the channel right now. You're watching Mirror Domains. All right, let's go back and take a look at what Chris Schobert is saying there in the live chat. Yeah, my voice is way. Oi. Have you seen The Good Boy 2025? What were your thoughts if you saw it? Well, that's also in theaters this weekend as well. Um, I just saw the listing for it out at the Landmark. Let me pull that up. I was just looking at what was for tomorrow. Let's see what's going on tomorrow. So if I go see Roofman at 10:15, uh, Good Boy's playing at 4:10. I know I can't do that. Ooh, I do want to see it. It's only 73 minutes. So it's like an hour and 13 minutes. It's like a horror type, a scary story told from the perspective of a dog. It's very short. I don't know. Maybe I can step out and see it tonight. It is playing here. I do want to see it. I hear interesting things about it. Let's go over to the Tomato Meter and see what people are saying about Good Boy. Yeah, 89%, 84 by critics. Our canine hero finds himself on a new adventure with his human owner and best friend Todd, leaving the city for a long vacant family home. Yeah, I'm really interested in this. I like dogs. Who doesn't like a good dog? All right, all right. What else? What else you got there? Is this Tron Ares as good? Storyline or no, James? Can you give me a little bit of info? I liked it. I really liked it. I was really shocked. Like, as I said in my review there, I was waiting for the story to go nosedive. The biggest cringe part of it was maybe a touch of the dialogue revolving around one character who was there to be the slapstick character, the comedy, and that was played by who's this guy? Where's this guy? Arturo Castro. Not funny. I wasn't laughing at his jokes. He wasn't very good, but he was written that way. But I overlooked it because Greta Lee was captivating, Jared Leto was captivating, and I felt like, and even though Evan Peters was over the top, I said at times, I felt like it felt the tone of the original kind of bad guys of the Sark. So yeah, pleasantly surprised. All right, guys, my voice is killing me here. I got to take some rest. Uh, Hope you enjoyed what you saw here, and hit that thumbs up button. I'll see you next time, right here on Mirror Domains.